on that selection. As I believe it should pop up here right for you guys. We already do have some bans in the works. The first ban being Nidalee by Top Esports. Definitely a good choice, followed by Zyra. I do wonder what that third ban will be.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different options. Senna is already gone. Kalista is still available here. The Rumble, pretty much a must ban right now. We haven't seen FaZe play that much Kalista this season. It's one of the highest banned champions in the LCK. We talked about the Tristana Corki matchup in the mid lane and how it's been a big sticking point throughout not only this tournament, but of course for both leagues domestically. Chovy has often preferred the Corki matchup. He's one of the only players in the LCK to do so, and he will once again lock that in here first. Top Esports hovering a very high Leona priority. Now, Lehens has found an insane amount of success on this pick so far this tournament, or rather in LCK. Domestically, 4-0 on the pick, likes to pair it with the Ezreal, so feels specifically like a pick away here, and they'll take the Ezreal, it looks like, with it. This has been the duo that we are seeing FaZe and Lehens find the most success with right now in the LCK, including their win over T1.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic duo in its own right as well. So they're going to highly prioritize the bottom lane here, which is not something we oftentimes see, at least in the LCK. But we'll have to wait and see what they do round out their draft with, just saying, okay, we want Ezreal Leona. We'll build the rest of the draft. You know, you can ban other stuff, but we need this. And, you know, it will be interesting to see how it does shake out from there. As with this Corki mid, definitely would not be surprised to see Kennen picking up an AP jungler.
Yeah, the Karthus we knew was coming.
Yeah, which one it is Karthus.
You and I both knew very likely it was going to be the Karthus in this game. It's one of his old favorites. He was the first player to bring it back in the LCK a few seasons ago, and then, of course, brought it back this season as well. K'Sante coming through now, 369 with a potential hover of an old counter pick in the Gwen, but I think showing that a bit early here. The Tristana is basically a must lock in right now. You would never get the opportunity to grab it in that second phase. It would absolutely be banned away. So the opt-in here to 80 carry on the bottom side. FaZe and Lehens still leaving this one a little bit open-ended. Ezreal is gone. The Zeri is now taken away. We might just see a Kalista lane here, but you have to consider the Ziggs as well. There's so much upfront burst damage with the Ziggs, even though you have the AP jungle damage coming through from the Karthus. You can just throw in his combo, toss a bomb, press that Karthus ult, and blow somebody up. The Tristana, the Ezreal, they won't be safe. So I think that's another ban that Top Esports should consider.
It's a really good call because generally you would never want to stack both Karthus and Ziggs. But when you are stacking so many squishies in this meta, so many marksmen, so many things that don't build magic resist, or if they do, it's one item, right? And then you can build penetration on Karthus, on Ziggs. You can get there and essentially just push them away. So we'll see if they do give credit to FaZe to pick up that one of the Ziggs, as we are going to see the Renekton ban here. Not really, you know, scared about the Gwen hover that we did see from the side of Cream, and they might ban it here, but I doubt that 369 will play that in this case. But we'll have to wait and see, as the Kai'Sa is going to be the second ban here in the second phase by Top Esports.
Sejuani is still available here for Tian to potentially pick up, and you can, you know, lead his CC into Leona. The follow-up burst damage is there with the Tristana, so I think that could be considered, but they want to take away an AP jungler instead in this brand, which has been so incredibly popular in the LPL, way more so than in the LCK. We've had a few of our teams pick it up here and there in the LCK, but it's been much more of a mainstay pick with Fearless. And Mordekaiser, a little bit of a hover here into the K'Sante. This has been more of an answer to the Skarner as of late, but 369 gonna pick it up right away. And this is an interesting pick considering how, in a lot of ways, it can help you secure objectives against many of the meta junglers as well. You could try to secure a Baron by pulling that champion out of the pit. But against Karthus, who's going to be generally pretty far away from you, not really feeling too great about the pick itself. Also a little bit of anti-synergy with the Ezreal, but very difficult to crack. And oh boy, Valdez, an old favorite for FaZe, going just straight to the Aphelios Nautilus lane here. Not going to try to play anything too fancy with the Ziggs. No Kalista lane into this Ezreal. No Varus, just old-fashioned scaling AD carry.
Yeah, it's a really nice, well-rounded comp here from the side of Gen.G. You have that insane lockdown with the Nautilus. You've got CC from the K'Sante. That's essentially it when it does come to crowd control, but you have two top picks in those. As we're hovering in Ivern, and it is going to be locked in. You've got 280 carries. You've got the chance to support them in that way. And I don't know. It feels like to me, Wolf, that Top Esports is reaching a little bit with some of these picks, but definitely some interesting picks to come out here. The R5 Ivern, not necessarily one that I was expecting.
Not one that I was expecting. I think it's great with a lot of AD carry picks, especially ones that kind of end up getting into the thick of things like an Aphelios, for example, you could see it on. It is going to be pretty good for Tristana. That is where Ivern first cropped up when we did have the Tristana return to the mid lane.
Yeah. But Ivern is also really good into Karthus, I guess, because you can build, you know, shields, you can build redemption, you can build items to deal with him. You've got shields in your own kits.
Yeah, I mean, that's
actually a counter in the jungle as well.
That's what I was going to say. The one thing, too, is it's great for the jungle matchup. And, you know, one of Ivern's biggest weaknesses is facing off against a melee jungler that can actually challenge him in the jungle. Karthus isn't really that type of jungler. It will have a lot of presence in the early game as well, and the bushes can really impact how we're going to see these double AD carries end up team fighting. But I got to say, this is stock standard, traditional Gen.G. Comfort picks pretty much across the board. Even though the Aphelios hasn't been that meta as of late, it's one of PaY's best picks historically, and I've got to give them a huge edge heading into game one.
Yeah, it certainly does feel like they kind of just, as you mentioned, went for the stock standard Gen.G. We're just going to play our game. We pick blue side. We just kind of take good champs for us and also in the current meta, and we're just going to make it work that way. We're not going to reveal too much. Whereas Top Esports, you know, it does feel like they're reaching a little bit with some of the picks. Reaching, not necessarily a negative term that I'm trying to use here, but definitely trying to go ahead and go outside the meta and look for other choices into what Gen.G have drafted in hopes that they can potentially steal a win here from the red side.
I am very much looking forward to seeing how it all shakes down here, Valdez.
And it does look like we are just about ready to hop onto the Rift here for game number 1. As, you know, the fans have come out once again for this matchup. We saw them yesterday with BLG T1. We got LCK up against LPL in the Gen.G versus Top Esports matchup once again here tonight.
A lot of Korean fans in the audience, I noticed. You know, taking a little bit of a trip to Riyadh, get to watch some T1 Gen.G games. And it is really fun to see, again, traveling fans as well for these teams. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Top Esports' comp in isolation. I just feel like it ends up having some big weak points. The Mordekaiser's impact in team fights is going to feel a lot less than what we're going to see from the K'Sante. I think the Karthus' ability to help blow up targets is going to be really, really important when we get to the late game. Ivern's shielding will similarly be impactful, but it really just depends on how this comp shakes out, because in terms of engage, they have a bit of a Mordekaiser grab, and otherwise it's just Leona. You know, you can, of course, trigger seed, you can set up some roots with Tian here on this Ivern, but it's a bit opportunistic, so concerned about how that's going to go. On the other hand, Lehens can be a big problem for this Ivern later on when he's trying to secure vision, when he's trying to, you know, look for objective control. Because Analyst is just so good at getting on top of this pretty squishy, immobile jungler.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the team fights, it's going to be, I think Top Esports, if they can get ahead, you know, set up some brushes, Lehens is going to hook the wall. That's not what you like to see, as he is going to flash away. Not the best play I've ever seen, but he is going to barely get away with it. Does get the flash out of Jackie Love, funnily enough, so I suppose it's worth in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you consider how quickly he's going to get his health back here in this early part of the laning phase, still level 1, getting that flash can be pretty huge, as that's going to be on a very long cooldown. PaY's obviously taking a bit of damage in this trade as well, but he's got his Severum, so can get back up to full health pretty quickly with his Doran's Blade. But at the end of the day, feels like a pretty big win here for Gen.G, even though the health trade was positive for top.
Yeah, definitely does feel that way. It was, I think, very strange that Jackie Love was trying to punish in that hard of a way with the flash himself. But, hey, we'll see if Gen.G can actually get something out of it. Can be hard to punish the Ezreal anyway, as he does, of course, have that Arcane Shift on his E here at level 2. As Tian went for a little bit of a walk into the enemy jungle, tried to see exactly where Canyon was. He comes back into his jungle to clear out his own jungle and get the buffs.
That's the way Ivern works. It takes him a while to take his camps, so he has some additional time while those are not being killed, but just kind of peacefully becoming his friends to go over and do some of those checks. But obviously into the Karthus clear, he is going to find himself a bit behind in general. As you can see, Canyon significantly faster on the clear. He catches up a little bit here, but Canyon has the first ability to go and impact the map as Keen's looking for a bit of a trade up here.
Yeah, he traded a lot of damage straight into 369's shield. So at the end of the day, it does feel like 369 is in a pretty good spot. But yeah, as you mentioned, here comes Canyon, level 4. I feel like 369 should know this timing, but he is on the wrong side of the fight. As he does have his flash, will he even bother to use it is the question. That's a big shield, but now he's going to go for the flash. Lands that Q on a boat, then maybe a chance, but no, it will be first blood over to Canyon on the Karthus already.
Yeah, a bit of a misread here for 369, and you know, you start to really feel like maybe some of the damage going into the shield there, that quote-unquote poor trading for Keen might have been intentional. He falls for it. Meanwhile,
now trying to get in onto Pays. That's going to be a really excellent trade here for JackeyLove and Mako, as Pays just take a huge amount of damage. And they know that, of course, Tan could be down here on the bottom side of the map, so they're immediately going to try to back.
Let's take a look at this play up here once again. So you see 369's on the wrong side, gets slowed here, pulls Canyon in, which actually doesn't really help him all too much, because it means that the AoE that Canyon is spitting out here is going to be on him for longer. Q hitting both is going to be reduced damage there. Not going to get the empowered big solo damage and won't be able to trade anything back. Also, flashing here means going to be in a really rough spot in this laning phase. We'll see Cream TP back to lane here, as Chovy's already used his, but what a massive win here for Gen.G in the early game.
Yeah, it is pretty huge, and actually the bottom lane, Pays and Lehens did not actually go for a back. They stopped their backs, they ate the wave that was coming into them, reading the fact that they were not in fact going to be dove, and that they could safely do that and get a better back. So even that lane not too affected. They do get the cleanse out of Pays, of course, but those two should be just fine down there.
We have seen a lot of, you know, Ezreal Leona paired with a dive jungler, you know, something like a Sejuani that can come through. Xin Zhao we've seen oftentimes, as Lehens is here, but I don't think this is going to amount to anything. Good trade for Cream. But yeah, unfortunately, the Ivern not really fitting the bill in terms of setting up for that one, so health trades alone aren't going to be enough to phase Pays and Lehens down there in the bottom lane. As we do have Tian coming in here to check Canyon out. He's got some vision set up here as well.
Yeah, and just going to put down a bush, sees Canyon. Canyon's unaffected, just wants to power farm the jungle. After getting that first blood, this Karthus is going to be huge. I was thinking maybe in the draft he would go for the Sejuani in this position, but instead they just wanted that extra damage, and you know, they have an insane amount of AP damage with the Karthus alone, so it does feel nice to get that online early.
Yeah, in terms of itemization, we do see a Cull picked up here for Cream as well. So we'll be stacking a big game power spike with that item buy. Canyon, level 5 here, going to come over, level up on Tian for the moment, try to take away one of these grubs. Will be successful. Does not have mid prio, so even though he has a 2-level lead here, let's see if he actually wants to commit to this. As Chovy's coming up.
I mean, Chovy is coming up. Now they are thinking about just moving away from this one as 369 does come down. Looks like there was a wave into that top turret, and Canyon says, okay, I got my one grub. I'm totally fine with that. Let's go down towards the bottom side of the map. Now, JackeyLove and Mako do have a presence in this bottom river, but in the 3v2 should go the way of Gen.G.
Yeah, just going to put down this wall here and clear the scuttle and give him a little bit more dragon control. Lehens kind of back on a ward here. Thought perhaps he had the clear available, but has not actually switched to sweeper just yet. That's double root. It's going to mean an arcane shift away, and this could be a dragon take potentially here for Gen.G. Chovy using Canyon's presence so incredibly well to push Cream back despite the health deficit as well. Just knowing that Canyon was in the vicinity meant that he could do whatever he wanted. Got some additional prio there. They don't start the dragon just yet, but putting a ton of pressure here on top Esports.
Yeah, they absolutely are. I mean, Canyon doesn't have to risk going for the dragon just yet. He has his camps respawning, and he is Karthus. So what does he do? He goes right back into his jungle, and he starts clearing from bottom to top, and that's exactly what he is going to do here. He's going to be so far ahead in terms of CS on Tian. He's even ahead of his top laner right now, and Canyon is just going to be something that they're going to have to deal with this entire game.
Certainly true. Lehens and Pays looking for a potential bit of damage here on the Leona.
Yeah, the Mako is going to go in. There's the cleanse. Pays actually very good for his sake that he dodged that Mystic shot from Jackulov. Otherwise, might have been dove here, as that is another nice trade going the way of Top Esports' bot lane.
Ooh, close call there.
Yeah, we still do have the barrier and the flash back for Jackulov, actually, so I feel like he would have been okay, but could have been a nice trade to Gen.G, not to happen.
Yeah, FaZe on the Hens holding their own here despite Mako going in there, put a lot of damage onto him. Jackulov with the True Shot Barrage did a ton. That's part of the power with Leona and Ezreal, is you can guarantee you can get that WQ combo, or you can get the True Shot Barrage onto the target instantly. They played it well, as the Dragon's gonna say, you can't back here.
Why did Jackulov cue the Dragon? Maybe to get like a tier stack or something?
Yeah, I guess
don't know.
so. Now, Valis, I wanted to mention the top side matchup here. Small advantage in terms of CS here right now for 369, even though he was ganked earlier. This isn't going to matter all too much as Tian is doing Dragon bottom side. But the one big thing here about what's going to affect this matchup is that Keen is going to itemize against the Mordekaiser into a double 80 carry. So he's not going to actually be as tanky against attack damage as he would otherwise be in the early game here. So something to keep in mind. Just maybe the Merc treads to start and then he swaps over. But even still, that is going to actually impact how he will be able to fight some of these early to mid-game fights. So one small edge they will get on that top side. And they will get some additional resistances, of course, from this first Mountain Drake as well. Hens wants to try to make a play here potentially, but there's just no angle.
Yeah, I think he should have known, of course, with the ward in the pit that the Dragon was happening, maybe looking for the punish, as you mentioned, but it does mean Top Esports going to be very respectful. They just back away from this one, and Canyon says, I don't care about fighting champions. I'm just going to take the Scuttle Crab and get up to ADCS, and he is going to be feeling pretty good about that, as Tian looking to maybe get something going here onto Chovy. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we did see the first pick, Corki, come out, and then we saw the Karthus immediately afterwards, and it just feels like Chovy and Canyon don't really want to play PvP. They just want to play PvE. They just want to hit the minions. Speaking of which, Keen is going to go PvP here against the Mordekaiser, but it is just a flash at a 369, and Keen will say, okay, I'm good with that.
One more turret shot would have been a huge. Meanwhile,
yeah, that's going to be a lot, but that is into the Nautilus as, okay, that didn't hit anyone from Paze, as now the flash stun comes in, and Paze has to flash away, as once again, Top Esports doing a huge amount of damage to the Gen.G bottom lane, looking to take down Paze, but they will not be able to, as Mako, oh no, he is so low, and the kill comes through, Paze, he turns it around with the help of Canyon, as they step just one step too close.
That's my boy Canyon. He doesn't even have to be there to make an impact. 2 kills going over. Paze doesn't use his cleanse either. Meanwhile, he's doing something. He's like, I'm impacting bottom lane, I'm impacting top. And he's going to be able to help take away at least one of these grubs, as I don't know if Top Esports should really look to fight this. Keen rotating over with the TP.
Yeah, I mean, 369, he's just in there by himself, and yes, he is in the death chamber trying to take down Lehens, and he should be able to. Can he be punished afterwards is the question, as a knockup comes through. The all-out not ready, though, for Keen, and now Aru comes down onto Keen. He's got to flash away. Way too many members here of Top Esports. They weren't expecting this much pressure as Cream. He's like, oh, yeah, that's Cassante. I'm not going to be able to kill him, but it is Top Esports that get a minor win here in the top river. So looking for a bit more, actually. Mako going in once again, making a huge impact on this first pick, Leona. As well, the fighting will finally end.
It will finally end. It looked really good for Gen.G at the outset, but that ultimate there from 369 actually ended up being a big game changer. Bought a ton of time for Top Esports. Those additional stats he picked up after he took Lehens out as well. And Keen, a bit far forward here.
He is still Cassante. He might actually kill Mako, but no, it is just going to be the pull in from the Mordekaiser. And that is going to be a nice kill over them. I do think that Mako got it somehow. But either way, still going to be a nice kill for Top Esports in the top lane.
Yeah, it looks like maybe an Ignite tick is what actually ends up securing the kill here. Paze and Lehens, though, full control over bottom side with that roam from Mako, punishing Jackulov. So while they gain something top, the kill goes to Mako, as you mentioned, and they end up losing plates and farm. Bottom side as Ezreal is just denied until we see the rotation over. And this game was completely wide open for Gen.G. They had full control, but few small mistakes there. Losing Lehens, losing Keen, puts a lot of gold in the pockets of Top Esports, but where the gold goes is really the problem, because end up getting a kill on the Leona. Ezreal picked picked up one earlier, and yes, this Mordekaiser is going to be relatively, he's going to get some relative efficiency out of his gold, right? He's building AP, has his Rylays already. But the Karthus is the bigger problem here. The Aphelios that picked up plates on the bottom is a bigger problem. To go all the way back to this, he pulls in Lehens, ults him, so there's no one who can impact this play. So if you're watching this, you're not familiar, you're like, why aren't they hitting the Mordekaiser? They can't because he's in his ultimate. And when he pops out, he has additional stats to buy time for Cream to come over. Mako is here as well. And 369 just tanks it up, still has his shield. Keen's forced to flash. Really good plays here from the side of 369. Some comms there from Tian. Unfortunately, I won't be able to translate those for you guys. But if we get any Korean comps, maybe I will.
Yeah, that's our area of expertise, as Keen is going to also miss the cannon. And so far, it does feel like the Mordekaiser is getting a lot of value in that top lane. Like, Keen has done Cassante things, but the last couple of fights has absolutely gone in 369's favor. He's getting free money by just picking up the support, putting him in the death chamber, taking him down, gets a kill, and then living afterwards, also pretty huge. So he's going to be very accelerated. He already has his Rylai's, his haunting guys, going to be working towards that Leandri's. And I mean, yeah, it's going to be huge.
If you consider all of the gold lead here is really just Canyon, like 2,000 gold is the advantage for this Karthus. You know, he's farmed massively more than Tian has so far, and he picked up those 2 kills earlier. That's where that gold lead comes from. The game is a lot closer than what you might just see on the gold graph, in fact, but we'll see how much of an impact Canyon can make here. Has his Leandri's for this fight. As Pays is not here, trying to get over here as fast as he can, but advantage to Top Esports for the moment.
Yeah, they are struggling to actually enter the river. A bit of poke does come out from both Canyon and Chovy. But once they do get into the river, Top Esports as a 5-man unit are going to be very confident to try to take this over. Now, Pays is pushing mid. He'll get some mid prio here for the team. But it does look like Gen.G don't want to fight over the Rift Herald. They say, okay, you can take it. And that should be a win over at Top Esports.
And in these types of moments, too, if you don't have the control of that choke point, if you don't have the ability to set up some damage, Canyon isn't going to be able to do a whole lot unless he has, you know, again, the ability to get forward and poke. But there's just so many ways to shut him down, burst him down when you don't have that advantage. Your Aphelios isn't quite online yet. He was late to the party, decides to go mid. They will grab that Hextech Dragon. It is going to be an Ocean Soul here for this first game, which does feel quite good for both teams if they could pick this one up. Turret, though, is going to go down here quickly, and this is why I'm on the Tristana side of the Tristana Corki, how quickly she can blow these up. Now, in return, Chovy will get it done by himself, had a bigger wave down there in the matchup against the Mordekaiser. Not much 369 could have done to defend. Pays getting a lot of free farm here in the mid lane as we reset. And the question becomes, when will Tian make a big impact in this game? Because otherwise he's kind of half-heartedly been able to farm, has been able to help a little bit in terms of the vision game, but it's been Canyon who's made the much larger impact on the map.
Yeah, honestly though, I mean, it does feel like he is just very reactive, very much like a neutralizing pick into the Karthus. He's gonna sit there and wait for Canyon to do something, and then he's like, okay, I'll press my redemption. I'll press my trigger seed onto someone. They'll take less damage. Let me try to neutralize Canyon, and, you know, when you consider that, yes, Canyon is miles ahead in terms of farm, but also Tian's able to do a lot with the little that he does have, and he will also be able to support those 80 carries as Chovy's just going to TP to the top lane. He says, you know, there's no minions here, so I might as well go top, and there is nobody top for Top Esports currently.
Yeah, I might have to use 2 TPs to try to make this play, but it is a really good macro read here from Gen.G, getting some additional damage done. Herald's going to be dropped, and Keen probably just going to have to use that second teleport I was mentioning here. If he walks down super slow, as we do have a fight up here.
Lehens, once again, in the death chamber, has to throw down that death charge, and it is going to delay enough so that 369 won't stick around, knowing that there's a big Gen.G presence in the top side of the map. But there's still this huge push down on the bottom side for Top Esports. They should be able to get this inner turret unless Keen can do something about it.
Yeah, and Keen decides not to teleport to stop the outer push either. No rotation down as they try to make a play topside but fail. So yes, Chovy gets 1 turret, but they get 2 out of the Herald. And they're really keeping this gold dead even. And arguably, you could say that as long as the utility of Tian is utilized properly, they're ahead because the Karthus money is really where all the gold is for Gen.G. Mordekaiser has an advantage topside. Yes, Pays does have that extra kills worth of gold and some additional farm lead he had picked up earlier in those plates, but this is such an even game. And if Gen.G continue to make macro choices like this, they will find themselves falling further and further behind. And the read of both of our LPL representatives in terms of macro this tournament has just been phenomenal, despite the loss yesterday. And Gen.G, I think where the real power is going to lie is when they get control over an objective and look to start team fighting, but Top Esports just not giving them any entry points, and Karthus made a huge impact early. But like you said, the reactionary playstyle of Tian and just kind of the sit back behind and wait. It's kind of being a little bit of a problem here for Gen.G.
They're not sure 100% what to do about it. Just sitting back and farming is kind of the neutral kind of base position of Gen.G in this point. I mean, they do have a Karthus. They do have two incredibly strong scaling AD carries of their own. They've got the Cassante, which also scales very well, and very reliable team fight engage with that Nautilus. So I think Gen.G not very rushed. They're kind of just saying, okay, we can trade turrets. That's totally fine. Maybe we can group up for the next Dragon. That'll be nice as well. We do have a TP flank coming in here from 369, but they just back away as they do see the TP coming in, and there's no objective at the moment, so the TP not getting much value here for 369.
Unfortunately not, but considering both outers are down on the top side, I guess he thought perhaps this would be a potential angle to get more mid-prio. Not really going to matter all too much, though, as Chovy clears this top wave, and not going to be collapsed on here by Cream and Tian, so very interesting choice there, but, you know, had Gen.G not reacted correctly, had they overextended trying to fight for more prio in mid, maybe he could have found an angle there. He's just going to instead head to the bottom lane. That teleport, though, a very important cooldown now lost. Chovy picks up his second item here. 2 items for Canyon as well. The real, you know, spikes we're waiting for here are going to be the IE for Pace. You know, when is he going to end up finishing that? Just picked up a BF sword, so we're still a ways away from that. Once he comes online, that's when Gen.G are going to be really confident to just straight up 5v5 fight, use the Cassante as a front line and go in. But we're not quite there yet. So like you said, they're kind of sitting back and farming. It's a bit of a slower game here. More LCK style than what we're usually used to for LPL games.
I feel like Top Esports not too much of a stranger to it either. And you know, it's a little bit of a sleepy one, but I still do feel like, you know, both teams will benefit in their own way when we do get to the later stages of the game. I do personally favor Gen.G. I do think that their front line on the top side, or rather for Top Esports, not that great, although this stun is going to be huge onto Canyon. He has to flash away, and now he's in a lot of trouble. He's just going to try to die here and throw down the Requiem maybe. As there it is, it should be a lot of damage, but eventually the redemption comes in, everybody's topped up, and now Top Esports thinking about where they want to go from here.
Yeah, I mean, the redemption in these types of moments is just so high value. It just counters the Karthus ultimate completely, and Canyon was just greeting for first strike gold. You know, he steps way too far forward. He's trying to put some poke down, fight for the neutral here, but ends up being punished, and yes, they can try to take out this mid turret, but it is going to be in exchange for the second dragon. And even that mid turret, I mean, still relatively healthy here, is something that Gen.G can't get. And with that outer down, there's no value to be found in a side lane. Can't even punish the lack of teleport here for 369. And once again, Top Esports play this painfully slow, but incredibly effective and efficient take of these objectives. Once again, they're the ones who get the Dragon. Mako, though,
he is very tanky, but, you know, given enough time, he should be going down. Chovy, though, over the wall with the Valkyrie. Is maybe a bit over-aggressive, but he says, okay, I've got an angle here. Doesn't look like Top Esports can really punish me for doing that kind of crazy maneuver, as now, you know, Mako maybe trying to take a look at the Baron. And that's going to be the start of the Baron. Gen.G say, okay, we've got enough value here. Let's just go for it. And take a look at the positioning right now of Cream and Jackie Love. They're not here as the TP is available for Cream, but will they actually go for it? It just comes down to a smite fight as it goes to the Corki. Chovy will take it down, and now the fight going the way of Gen.G as 369. He's got Lahens in the death chamber, will be able to take him down, and Mako is going in, trying to open this one up, but he is being shredded down. But now a lot of low health bars here on the side of Gen.G. We're looking for Top Esports to jump on in. Cream looking for a bit more, but they're only going to get the one kill for now. As long as they avoid the grab, that is going to do it. It is 4 Baron buffs and the Baron to Gen.G.
Really great call here for Gen.G, pushing Mako out. And yes, he has Warmogs. Yes, he heals up very quickly, but you pointed out the bigger issue. Tristana, nowhere nearby. The support pushed away. They had enough control to start up. They have a very fast Baron take with this composition, even before the IE is done. It is now, by the way, 4 pays here on second item. And that's a Baron buff that's going to give them full map control here. the next 2 minutes, they will be able to finally say, Top Esports, you have to be the ones to come to us with your passive playstyle. You're going to actually have to break through. And this is where the lack of engage can be a huge problem. As you see here, numbers advantage to Gen.G. The Tristana teleport is to mid, as Tian does come in here and try to make this close. The Corki that does secure. And then, you know, there's no winning this fight. Unfortunately, 369 can look for another kill onto Lehens, but that's all they're going to get. Scuttle Crab also fought over here, taken by Gen.G as an extra additional prize. They will be able to get out with no problems. Bit of a nod here, as I gave it his best bet on that one.
Gotta love that. Not showing all too much, but it is enough. And by the way, shout out to Keen as well, because he pushed 369 away from the pit. Because as you mentioned, right, when the Mordekaiser was chosen in the draft, if 369 gets in there, he ults Canyon. Tian just gets in, smites the Baron, and it's Top Esports, and we're in a totally different game stage. So Keen identifying the real big threat in that fight and just saying no to the Mordekaiser. That just pushes him right out of position so that he can't get him in the death chamber. So now, you know, we were in a pretty even game state. There was only the one Dragon that went over to Top Esports. It's just one Ocean, which is nice, but it's not going to be game breaking. But now Gen.G looking to get a pretty big power play with this Baron buff.
And it's going to be huge, as Cream should be able to ult his way out of this one. But the turret, not long for this world. Chovy is just going to shred through it here with these Baron-empowered minions. And, you know, the 4-1 is quite strong here for Gen.G. And this is where the lack of engage here outside of Leona becomes a huge problem for Top Esports. Their jungler can't do much, and Top Esports don't have a flank teleport top that can actually make a huge impact. We saw what happened last time. 369 tried to teleport flank, didn't work out too well. They don't really have great wards to teleport to either. You can see they have one to the left of the river here outside the Baron pit, but he's just so far away from the rest of Gen.G, even if he TP'd there, and he's Mordekaiser, so what can he really get done? So it's so difficult for Top Esports to do anything but just sit back and clear in these positions. So Baron's so valuable for Gen.G. Tristana can obviously start to push out that bottom lane, but that was a lot of gold value here. Gen.G furthering their lead now up to nearly 4,000, the advantage.
Yeah, just the one fight, the one kill that went the way of Top Esports, and that was it. This is definitely a very sleepy pace compared to what I was casting yesterday with Team Liquid up against Fnatic. But, you know, it's all right. We'll take it. It's just game one. We're just hanging out. It's a nice vibe, as everybody's kind of scaling on both sides. It's no rush, 25 minutes. And we're just waiting for eventually, because we know that a 5v5 team fight should break out.
Yeah, I mean, in 30 seconds, this Dragon is spawning. So right now, T1, or not T1, excuse me, Gen.G do have prio over Top Esports. And with the control that they have around this pit, this is when Top Esports are going to really be tested without that engage I mentioned. Leona is great in lane because you can set up the Ezreal combos, but going in straight forward by yourself in this comp, if you don't have enough damage or you don't get onto a target like Pays, it doesn't matter. If you kill the Karthus, he doesn't care. He's still going to have value in that team fight. Try to go on to a Nautilus or a Cassante, you're really going to hate how that goes too. Mako does end up getting some control here in the river. TP coming through from Cream. It's just a 5v5 ARAM here in the mid lane fighting for prio.
Yeah, Cream did just pick up that BT, so trying to utilize that timing, I suppose, to go for a big team fight here. Bit of poke damage already done by Top Esports. I love the vision toggle here saying, okay, there's a ton of rushes up for the Ivern, and it is somewhat countered by the wall, but still going to be very annoying for Gen.G to pull through, as Daisy is going to go down. The hook goes on to the Leona. That's not the target you want. And Gen.G slowly being chipped away and pushed away from this fight.
His brush is getting so much value. Pay's going to have to cleanse.
Yeah, he's going to have to cleanse. Just being pulled and then immediately rooted by the Ivern. So it's a lot utilized by Gen.G. They have to back away.
If you don't have prio, you can just kind of leapfrog your way forward with these brushes. And if Gen.G can't see you, they can't hurt you. Here comes the Requiem.
Yeah, just going to throw that down. Already a nice amount of damage. Now they're engaging on the Mako, who does have to get away. The smite does go to Tien, so that's a second Ocean Drake now to the side of Top Esports as 369 gets on the Chovy and puts him in the death chamber. Meanwhile, the fight is going on to Mako. So much damage into Leona, but that's amazing for Top Esports as Mako will survive. The trigger seed comes in for Jackie Love as he eats into the team and immediately dies. That is not what what you want to see from Jackie Love.
Why in Jackie Love? Down he goes. Pays at full health as they try to chase him down here. Meanwhile, Keen.
They should be able to take down Keen. He is just way too low. Lahens and Pays being baited into this fight as well. Another hop comes forward, and Top Esports are winning this fight all the way. The shutdown goes to Cream, and that should be the Baron as well.
Jackie Love knew all along, doesn't matter, I'll sacrifice myself for the second AD carry.
Yeah,
Cream
truly.
baits Gen.G in, and Cream now with 4 kills on this 3-item Tristana. They can take this Baron down with ease. If they time it right, which they absolutely will with the death timers here, they should be able to get 5 Baron buffs out of this. Gen.G, on the other hand, going to have to lick their wounds and return. It looked like a good fight for Gen.G at the outset, but unfortunately Chovy was not able to win the 1v1 in the Mordekaiser ult. If he's able to win that one, things are completely different, but 369 wins it, picks up a big shield. So difficult to take him out. The front line is there. And also, as you pointed out, Jackie Love, has so much space here. Mako absorbs so much of the pressure here during this moment. If Jackie Love doesn't actually go in, this could have even been arguably more one-sided. Great pull here from Keen. Jackie Love insanely low, but look at Cream. He's like, yeah, all I have to deal with is Pays. So if you guys lock him down just once, I'm the better AD carry here. Keen just barely gets caught by this Zenith Blade. He goes down first, and Cream is like, oh, this is it. Jump resets for days, and Pays has no chance. Taking out, standing his ground as long as he can. But that's the Baron to Top Esports. And they're so close to taking a gold lead. They absolutely should off of this Baron here. But man, this Tristana is too big to fail, it feels, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, just able to do way too much in this game, just surviving. He's got Ivern brushes, he's got shields for days, he's got redemption, Leona the front line, a Mordekaiser to peel. And, I said it in the draft, I think if Top Esports get a lead, this comp is going to have a ton of power. And right now, they did finally crest into the lead with this Baron buff. So we'll see just how far ahead they are going to get. The game isn't done by any means, but Top Esports have taken a giant lunge into the lead here. And we'll see if they can get a bit more. So they're looking for some inner turrets with their Baron buff.
And I wasn't a believer of the Ivern comp, and after I saw the early game at Gen.G, I really started to feel like it was going to fall flat on its face. But when the game slowed down, it's just so hard to play against this. Look at the vision control they have here. Control wards in every brush, and then they make their own brushes. So hard for Chovy to actually fight back here. Has to back off. That's another turret down. Jackie Love pushing down this mid-inner as well. Israel with the empowered W auto there is going to wreck it. And this Baron power play here, 4,300 at the moment for Top Esports. They took a small lead. Now they ballooned it to a large one. Ezreal's sitting on 3 items. The Tristana, however, the real AD carry for top gold in the game, as you can see here. And Cream, if you kill him, you still have to deal with the Ezreal. You still have to deal with the Mordekaiser. It's so hard to kill him because of the shielding he's going to get from the Ivern. And I think it's going to take a really good engage here from the side of Gen.G. I think it's Lanz who has to be the hero in this one. But one pick onto an AD carry, like you said, is just not enough.
Yeah, and right now, Top Esports trying to collapse here onto Keen, who is quite tanky. But I think with the amount of damage they have, it should be enough, as he's just going to be caught out, and down he goes. And Top Esports getting so much value out of this Baron buff. Still 5 seconds left. Looking to push in, and we have the Ocean Drake. It's the Ocean Soul available for Top Esports in 45 seconds. And they should be able to take that down with Keen not in the fight. There is a chance that Gen.G do posture now that the Baron buff is gone. They've got TP on Keen. Maybe they really want to fight for this Ocean Soul.
Hayes also sitting on red-white. He's the real big threat they have to deal with in the longer fights, and he's going to have to break through those health bars more than the Corki here. So with LDR completed, he's going to have to be the one who actually takes down that front line. The Mordekaiser and the Leona, namely, as Keen caught out here. This is just, unfortunately for Keen, a step too far forward, trying to set up for his team to maybe go in and collapse there and punish the side of Top Esports. Ends up being a big fail there, though. Respawning here shortly with teleport.
I mean, look at the vision control. Like, we can't even see it. Gen.G can't even see the brushes. But now they're like, okay, well, we got this part. How about the next part? As they put down a wall, that's really going to help. But eventually that does go away, as they're just being poked out all the while. They can't get into this one. It's Ocean Soul over to the side of Top Esports. They get the flash out of Canyon as well. Mako will definitely trade that flash. And Top Esports Once again, it's 2,000 gold, but an Ocean Soul into this from the Poke, from the Karthus, the Corki, even the Aphelios is going to have huge value.
Top Esports have invested so much into control wards this game. You can see them all over the map during the setup for these objectives. It forces Gen.G to buy their own, to clear forward through brushes. And look at the damage here onto this turret. They're looking for an inhibitor. Look, level 18 Tristana can so safely take this one out. Jovi is going to head back here to help defend, but the damage has been done.
Damage has absolutely been done. That is a big wall onto multiple members of Top Esports, but you can see they're already backing away. They're already disengaging, so it doesn't really matter all too much. And the bot inhibitor down with a minute until Baron is just going to be so much value here for Top Esports. They have total control of the map right now, as this keeps being shown, and it is very important to note that with those Ivern brushes, it is very difficult to see exactly where Top Esports are.
We got Daisy.
Well, it's a blind hook, and they're going to find Mako. That is a lot of damage into the Leona, as Mako is going to go down. Lahen's a second time going to hook the turret, as now they're looking for a bit more. The Q3 is going to miss. That's the hook onto the Mordekaiser. That's now in the Death Chamber. Lahen's in a lot of trouble, but you see Jovi, the rest of the team trying to get to the back line. It's not going to happen, and this Mordekaiser is insanely huge, as they will also get the Cassante, and that is that front line that they were looking for. Pays is too low. Cream is jumping into the fight. He is jumping into the base, looking for the end of this game, and I think Top Esports will get it right here.
I think they absolutely will. A dominant performance here. Requiem will delay the inevitable. Not even. Toby trying to do his best to clear this wave here. Cannon still alive. Good flash.
Yeah, he is trying to stay alive. I mean, this wave was not cleared, though, and that is going to be the end of it. As the wave even coming in from the bottom side, Top Esports, a huge first game win going their direction in this best of 3.
And the beauty of it is how calm they were through a rocky early game. The vision control, the investment in control wards, and constantly keeping Gen.G on the back foot, making them blind in this first game. We saw those shots of Tian where he just nodded his head, not freaked out. We lost the Baron, doesn't matter. Stay calm, guys. We got this one in the bag, and Top Esports take the lead.
That they do. Well, guys, we are done with game number 1. We're going to take a quick break and come back with the studio to break down that first game.
Turn up this up right now. I like this up right now. You might be stuck right now. This might loosen me up right, up right, up right, up right, up right now. Get off this bus right now. You're acting sus right now. This one. Turn up this up right now. I like this up right now. You might be stuck right now. This might loosen me up right, up right, up right, up right, up right now. Get off this bus right now.
For the first time ever, Gen.G's Nexus explodes in the summer split. As you see it here, boom. They had their best shot at getting a comeback here in the mid lane, but they weren't quite able to do it. Top Esports toppled Gen.G and are up 1-0 against the reigning LCK champs, MSI champs, and in a game where, in a series where no one would have expected this. Welcome back to the area. It's your boy Degon alongside Ox and Joshi. We'll be breaking down the action from game number 1 of our first series of day 2 of the Esports World Cup presenting League of Legends. That was a lot of words. Ox, it's your turn. What'd you make of that game?
I mean, it was honestly, we've had Gen.G domestically be so dominant, playing against good teams and confirming wins, you know, beating T1 convincingly, who beat BLG. It's hard to scope out always in internationals how teams are going to do against each other. But Gen.G didn't underperform there, I feel like. I just think Top Esports really showed that their results so far in the summer really means something, and they really brought it to Gen.G. I think it started off with the draft. I think the Karthus pick got countered so well by this Ivern, and the fact that you have this Ezreal who's going to outrange your Felios, you have this Tristana who's only going to gain more range as the game goes on, and you saw in the later game a lot of these setups weren't working too well, and also Karthus will lose so much value when you can shield a lot of the damage and heal it back up with the redemption.
And just as we were hearing the casters talk quite a bit about how Top Esports didn't have a lot of engage with just a Leona, we saw a very similar thing that Gen.G had a very similar problem with. Yes, the Nautilus is great engage, but it's only one source, and as we were talking about Ox, we also got to see that if you only have one source of engage, well, Mordekaiser doesn't care. He eats that person, and the rest of your team has no real way to get in on the rest of the fight, and the range advantage that we saw coming out from Top Esports really carried this first game.
I know there may be one Ivern merchant that may live in Korea that is very, very happy with the way this one shook on out. Let's take a look at the highlights from this first game. And it was slow. There were a lot of slow moments, but here's an action-packed one. And it's so unique because we got to see Gen.G do this to KT, I believe, earlier in the LCK split. Now they get dove under tower.
Yeah, and I love the aggression coming out from Top Esports bot lane. This is something that has always been a hallmark of JackieLove, but it backfires. They end up going a bit too far, and they don't respect the Karthus, and they think they can get that second kill. The tower hits come through. That final hit from Pays there results in both kills going to Gen.G, and that was a massive hit to Top Esports.
But it's also so close too. Pays was just one auto attack away. You know, JackieLove looking for that little bit of extra distance they can get. One more auto attack would have drastically changed how we were talking about this, because they get that kill. Not only do we see JackieLove live, but Mako might get out as well.
Yeah, but that wasn't the only fight. Then after a little bit of time here, a lot of farming between our junglers, we get a battle here at Baron, taken by Chovy, but it was so messy.
Yeah, and I feel like it got to the point where Gen.G was starting to be a little bit concerned about the scaling of the enemy team, and the Tristana plus Ivern is such a powerful combo. They end up going with this Baron that is, it's a flip, you know? We see Chan get into pit, he doesn't secure it, Gen.G get it, and this does allow them to sort of consolidate their lead. But yeah, the ensuing fight gets very messy.
One of the things I really liked about watching this fight and how it started as well is the fact that we got to see Gen.G be very decisive with some of their plays. Some of the things that we were looking at a little bit later on, they needed to be a bit faster about how they wanted to take some of these objectives. But Gen.G saw, hey, we have a couple of extra seconds here where Top Esports can't bring the entire team to bear. We need to make use of that. We have good enough hands, and of course they did. It wasn't the jungler that got the smite, but Chovy can do it anyway.
Yeah, the fight before that at that Drake, I believe, is when they realized, hey, Requiem damage by itself not going to be strong enough, especially with the shielding of the Ivern, which then leads us to our third replay. Watch how dominant the Ivern is as they move Gen.G out of the way into the Drake pit.
And the thing is, the vision control is so fantastic, because not only are they placing these brushes supplied by the Ivern, but they're frequently using control wards to make sure that Gen.G can't ward them in return, and using the fog of war just to land consistent poke. And the thing is, yes, some poke comes back in return, but it's absorbed by those shields. Should anything go really amiss, you have, the redemption to bail you out. It felt like this poke and prod coming out from Top Esports really allowed them to get control of this Dragon area.
Yeah, it turns out when there's so many control wards, Boss Bomb and the Wall of Pain just take too long. They're on too long cooldowns to actually try and muscle their way back in. But this was definitely one of those spots where it feels like Gen.G could have played this a bit more decisively. If they kite down towards the Dragon, it's not going to be the soul point right away, but that's the kind of thing that got them the Baron in the first place. They had the hands to do it, and if you just wait too long to try and find your opportunity here, well, the opportunity never shows itself, and after this, it just feels as though Top Esports had so much control.
And I love you see the redemption come down immediately after the Karthus or the Requiem just to heal them all back up, and this ensuing fight, 369 on this Mordekaiser, immediately making a beeline for Chovy and getting that shutdown, and with him gone, he's still getting so much value on that Mordekaiser, but the rest of the fight for Gen.G just really starts to fall apart. We do get a little bit of a Jack in the Box moment. They happen. But yeah, in the ensuing fight, we see a really strong cleanup from Top Esports, even without the AD carry. They have another one in Cream.
Yeah, I really was looking for Gen.G to back out a little bit earlier, even while they had Canyon sitting there in the Death Realm, just using those Skittles to try and push everyone back. There's an opportunity for Gen.G to try and run mid, maybe get some mid priority, but instead, that's one of the times where I was like, man, maybe we don't try and test our hands here.
Yeah, and I love that highlight right there because it shows the ingenuity of the draft and the understanding on how to play it. As you highlighted, anytime the Requiem went down, it was group up together, let's get this redemption, and all of a sudden the damage that the Karthus puts down that he's known to do, why he's one of the most picked AP junglers in the current meta, it gets washed away. And here's our final fight here. Lahen's doing his best, throws a hook into a bush, hoping for the best. They get Mako, but then they bite off a little more than they could chew.
Yeah, this is part of the problem, is that you have to close the distance playing into this composition from Top Esports. Yes, they can get the Leona, but when he engages on the Mordekaiser, you just get ulted in return, you get smashed, and suddenly out of the Death Realm, this Mordekaiser appears with such a huge health bar. They have to back away, and Cream is so strong, he starts chasing down for the resets. And I think a lot of people, LCK fans, might see this as a big underperformance from Gen.G, but Top Esports, I feel like they've just played better than any LCK team has so far in the summer, and they were really the only ones able to challenge Gen.G, and they did so in great fashion.
And I think the one last thing I kind of want to point about, we talked a lot about the Ivern, but I think the Mordekaiser being so prevalent in China has been something that Gen.G not necessarily nearly as familiar with. We'll see if it survives the draft next time.
Well, game number 1 goes to Top Esports, giving Gen.G their first game loss of the day. Will it be the first series loss of the summer split? We'll find out together after this short break.
If you've watched any sport, there's always going to be one name that kind of stands out. Even if you don't know much about League of Legends or about the teams, you can just watch this guy and be like, wow, he's insane, he's the best right now.
He is just the most gifted mechanical player that Korea has ever produced. Chovy has hit best in the world.
He plays, I don't want to say perfect, but he plays like really solidly, like he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He has a really good macro.
You will never beat him in lane, so he always gets the lead, and then he knows exactly what to do with the lead. And there were games where Gen.G were losing in best of 5s, and like Chovy would come in and essentially like solo carry the game. This happened in LCK Spring, up against T1, funnily enough, up against Faker, where the team, like every other lane was losing, but he still got the lead because he always seems to.
People think he's good at farming, right? Farm, but I think it's different. Like he good at farm, also he good at pressure at the same time. Normally, if you want farm, you have to sacrifice like something you're getting HP or demonstrate badly sometimes. But that means he do something like logically very well to how build up to play to lane page.
My favorite part of Chovy is the breadth of skill set that he has developed and seeing what he does when he's just sort of let loose.
It's very scary for anyone playing him since 2018, how many years he's played in a row now, and just think about how many times he also came so close and failed. And didn't have the right roster and tried hard to carry, but he wasn't quite fully developed himself. But now it's like all of those experiences are culminating in like the perfect moment for him. It's really cool to watch his story now. Welcome back here to EWC presenting League of Legends. And yes, you heard it right. Gen.G lost game number 1 to Top Esports. Just outplayed Top Esports, an insane game number 1. They take down the tournament favorites, and now Gen.G are on the ropes.
As we jump into the second draft, I want to see some big adjustments here for Gen.G. They will stay on blue side here. The Ivern ban, I think, is one that definitely should be considered here, considering that it was really their undoing against Top Esports in that first game. They're actually going to take away the Tristana as well. I mean, Cream got so big, it was almost no losing that game, but it was the oppressive vision control, the control ward buys, and the leapfrog forward of the Ivern brushes that really did them in. Senna taken away here, no surprise there. Still no Canyon Zyrus, still no Canyon Nidalee. The card this pick feels a lot weaker with that counter we've already seen from Top Esports. First pick Corki, likely still on the cards here, but it comes at a huge cost in that you won't have that final counter pick here on blue side. And they're actually going to pivot to the Ezreal pick. I like this quite a bit. Now, you banned the Tristana, you gave the Corki, so, you know, that's definitely going to be the lock-in here. Rumble is also available, and this is the power of red side, Valdez. Yeah, you got the Ezreal, but they get everything they want. Corki, Rumble, and yes, Ezreal the strongest AD carry right now in this meta, but I feel the cost is just too high.
It is very high. I think individually, both Corki and Rumble are huge, and Top Esports saw this coming. They banned away the Lucian because they knew that, okay, they're not going to take Corki here. And so we get Corki, and they don't have Lucian, and they don't have Tristana. So this leaves Chovy kind of in an awkward spot where he is really going to have to dig deep for an AD carry mid, or he's not playing an AD carry mid. I mean, so I don't think he will in this game number 2.
He might just pull out the Azir, you know, a classic. It's been one of the big problems, you know, with these AD carryless comp or these mid laners that don't have engage, right? You're playing AD carry mid, so if you lose vision control, you lose prio. There is no super play, there is no shuffle, right? There is no big Orianna engaged, and when you fall behind on vision, when there is no engage in the mid lane, that could be a huge problem. Now, this Twisted Fate comes through. We've seen this more recently as a mid pick. It is definitely one that can be played. Showmaker played it in the LCK recently. I think it was played in the LPL as well. So consider this a big flex. See, Top Esports will be thinking about this as well. It can be quite tricky to play out if it is going to be, in fact, the mid pick. The Sejuani we talked a lot about last game is going to get locked in here, it looks like, for Top Esports. The Ashe is still available here, so I think that's one that Gen.G should definitely be looking at, considering how powerful it can be into the Ezreal lane and how well it can set up for both the Rumble ultimate and can follow up or set up the Sejuani Glacial Prison.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the first things they need to look at down on that bottom side. Gen.G, you know, it's kind of a flip of the last game where Gen.G highly prioritized their top side of the map, and then we had a lot of huge picks for Top Esports on the bottom side. The Ezreal Leona, that duo going into the hands of Gen.G, but Top Esports have a really, really strong top side of the map with the Sejuani, setting up for both Corki and the Rumble. We do see the Yone, another AD mid. It's not an AD carry in the traditional sense. Does get banned away, but it's a huge pick for Chovy, and they're not going to allow him to play that one.
The Kai'Sa is one of the strongest picks into the Ezreal individually in terms of her ability to 1v1 the Ezreal and duel him before the fight breaks out. So very strong in terms of controlling neutral as well. So that's a no-brainer here. The Yone ban, which is one of the most commonly picked champions into the Corki when Tristana is gone, does seem to indicate Top Esports thinks this is going to be a top Twisted Fate pick here. And the Jace coming out as well, another pick that can be quite strong in the mid lane as an AD. Won't be able to outrange the Corki with the Shock Blast. So not too shocking to see that one, no pun intended, but let's see what this final ban is going to be, because the Ashe really sticks out to me like a sore thumb in terms of how well it synergizes with this draft here for Top Esports. They take away the Draven instead. Similar ability to follow up on CC from the Sejuani, but the setup for the Ashe just feels so obvious here. I'll see if Top Esports will take the opportunity.
Yeah, they don't have to just yet, but they could lock it in and save their support for the final pick, as it will be the Ashe, as you mentioned. I think if you're not banning that, it's getting picked, and it does. So not too surprising at the end of the day that they do pick up the Ashe here. Now, what is the mid-jungle duo going to look like for Gen.G? As you mentioned, still flexibility with the TF, but seems like Top Esports not giving a lot of credit to that, and it will be the way that does come down here in mid.
I wouldn't have minded something like a Azir Xinjiao here for Gen.G because of the ability to set up for picks and threaten the Corki in mid lane, threaten the squishy Rumble. The way is going to be a similar idea. It will outrange the Corki, so put some poke down. One of the only AP mids right now that can kind of win lane against Corki eventually, has great wave clear, but can be super problematic later on if you're not ahead and you don't have map control to actually be that engaged, because you have a big ultimate, you have big burst and follow-up to something like a Leona engage, but it's very tricky. Hovering the Varus for just a moment, teasing us that Ashe Varus lane.
Yeah.
Kalista as well, you know, saying...
Yeah, it's a lot of strong double AD carry comps that are available, but that's kind of like harkening back to an old meta. I actually feel like the Braum is insane value into this comp. Like, it's just ridiculous.
It's great into the Hui. It's great into the Ezreal, obviously.
Everything.
Yeah, and... I mean, you could have gone for the insane kill lane. You could have gone full Hail of Blades down there with the Varus. You know, throwback to what we saw a lot in the LCK a few seasons ago. Guma and Keria playing that pick quite a bit, but man, when you consider how much engage there is, how much setup, I mean, the Braum ultimate is fantastic for the Rumble as well. You've got, you know, hot and cold you can lay on the ground. You have the Ashe arrow to set up the Sejuani. Sejuani sets up the Ashe arrow. You've got slows for the Ezreal lane to get a big advantage down there. Now, we have seen Ezreal Leona win this type of matchup. You know, the Ezreal has so much damage on his Q right now on this patch. And if he can land those Mystic shots, you know, you can end up winning the lane, but it is very risky. It's very dangerous into this Braum. And the Twisted Fate, I think, is going to have a large impact here on this early game. The first few ultimates are going to have to get a big lead here to Gen.G. In game one, we leaned a little bit towards Gen.G. We thought it was a little bit too finesse, the draft with Top Esports. They completely proved us wrong. The redemption pick for the Ivern was fantastic. Here in game two, it feels like they got everything they wanted, and it felt super obvious what their game plan was going to be, and yet Gen.G still confidently walked right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those comps on the side of Top Esports that you just look at it and you say, were there any bans in the game? Like, how did they manage to get pretty much one of the best comps we have ever seen? Like, it's just really, really strong, insane coordination, some of the best picks in the current meta, and it is fantastic. Now, on the side of Gen.G, I do feel like if they get ahead, they win their lanes, right? Canyon, I feel like his role is going to be huge. He picks up the Lee Sin. He wants to have an early impact. He wants to get ahead in the jungle matchup, but be more proactive with it. He doesn't want to sit back on Karthus, get really fed, and then press R and then get countered by Redemption. He wants to make impacts on top and mid. He wants to get his lanes ahead. And if they can do that, the pick potential from this comp of Gen.G is also insane. It is S+ tier with, you know, TF Leona alone, but also just everything else to support.
Ascent to MSI, this will only be the second time JackeyLove plays the Ashe pick, but it's a pick we've seen him play a lot in the past. Obviously, a player with a long story like he has, as mentioned on the desk earlier, you know, that Pei is a very young AD carry, quite storied early in his career, but JackeyLove a lot more experience, has a ton of experience on the Ashe across multiple different metas, playing with support Ashe alongside of him. I think is going to do a lot with this champion. And it might surprise people to hear that it's the first time Canyon's played Lee Sin since the summer season started as well. It's a pick that he has relied on a lot in the past. He's one of our best Lee Sins in the LCK, alongside Owner, longtime jungle rival. But yeah, definitely the bigger impact you were kind of alluding to here with this pick. Not going to sit back and farm, but will try to get his lanes ahead. As Top Esports, a little bit of invasion here at level 1, but not going to heavily commit or anything like that.
Yeah, looks like just a bit of juggling, just hanging around, and then eventually JackeyLove will place his ward down on the red buff. So they're going to know where Canyon does start. Won't be surprising that the Lee Sin does start on his red buff side of the jungle.
Look at Cream putting the pressure on as well instantly here. Chovy, his mana bar got ganked, you could say.
Oh boy.
With the 2 misses there. But Cream trying to push him out early here. Trying to get some value out of that through footwork. First proc of it. And we'll see how this mid lane matchup does go, because it's been a pick the way that a lot of our lower teams in the LCK, for example, have picked when they've made draft errors and have ended up, having to face the Corki. It's very common. Well, Hens did have an opportunity to look for his Zenith Blade there, doesn't take it. But if played well, I think the Corki absolutely can control this matchup early. It's level 2 first. And, Chovy's just going to have to weather the storm until he gets a few levels under his belt. His first buy will make it a lot more comfortable. Bit of a whiff.
That's all good. Level 2 still going to be hit here by Lehens and Pays. Definitely what you would expect, especially Pays and Lehens starting in the lane. They want to get control of the lane immediately. Again, kind of playing into this idea in their composition, I think, where they want to try to win all the lanes if possible, especially bot and top. You were talking about that Wave versus Corki matchup. Can go a little bit either way. But, probably just going to end up pretty even in this one as we take a look at all of the lanes at the same time.
See, Chovy hits level 3 and can start to both pressure Cream and clear the wave at the same time, so starting to come back there. We talked about the Rumble pick being S tier. Now, one of the only matchups where Rumble isn't going to find himself at a huge lead early on is the range matchup into TF. Let's look at that poke coming through from Chovy meanwhile. But Keen, managing the lead here pretty well so far into that Rumble. So that's one place where you go, okay, well, the Rumble pick is top tier, the highest tier top lane right now in this meta, but at the same time, as Chovy is aggressively Trey, I'm a little scared for Cream, but at least he's getting the range matchup to deal with it is what I was going for there.
Lehens, he wants to get information on if Tien is here. Now that is going to look a little suspicious, right? Mako trying to scan for Tien, making his way down. And I believe, they're going to see him here. So the bottom lane here of Gen.G will stay safe, but it's double scan, and they deny all the vision from the potential Sejuani gank. Just to, show her face and try to make sure that bottom lane Jackie Love and Mako can stay safe themselves.
Tier buy here for Cream off the first back and a refillable. We'll see the tier matched for Chovy as well. As you can see, the teleports being traded there, just showcasing the buys. As Chovy controlled that first few levels incredibly well, once he got level 3, really put the pressure onto Cream, denied him some farm. Only, 2 or 3 CS were lost. But gotta say, this is the kind of start you're looking for if you're going to leave the Corki up. You have that AP answer. You're playing Lee Sin. Nice little scan there on this ward. Quiet early game, but Chovy continuing to put this pressure on. Now, the real interesting sticking point in this game is going to be that first ultimate from Keen, what he gets done with that, where he can make an impact on the map. Obviously, sacrificing teleport here to go for the exhaust into this composition is quite an expensive choice. So playing this matchup now passively as 369, has all visibilities unlocked, can overheat fairly easily, wants to play respectfully. Tian up here on the top side, so a wise choice.
Yeah, Tian trying to coming in here. He's going to get that control ward down. They are looking to dive Keen, but Keen is full health, so especially with exhaust, I think it might be difficult, but let's see how this one does go. Gold card held, and the exhaust not going to be utilized. Just stuns the Rumble, but that is not going to be enough, and Tien just tanks it up perfectly. His first blood to 369.
And nothing really Keen can do. They're holding the exhaust for a really long time there. It's not going to be enough of a slow to actually prevent the take, as Canyon's trying to go for the stop.
He's going to get in there, but he finds himself in a 1v2. He has to flash away, and he misses the Sonic Wave as a stun potentially to come through, but maybe on cooldown or out of range. And Tien and 369, just massive value in the 2v2 here.
Oh, insane. I mean, that was optimistic from Canyon to say the least. Doesn't have ult, of course, at level 5 and stopping the backs. If you could stutter them, where one back is stopped and the other isn't, you win that 1v1, but 1v2, it is just not going to happen. Has to flash away. And disaster here for Gen.G in this early game. Find themselves 600-700 gold behind. Keen losing out a lot of control over the lane. Doesn't have teleport, of course, so has to walk back. Canyon will be able to at least secure this grub. Chovy is really crushing mid lane, so that's the place where the good news starts for Gen.G. Trying to stop that back onto Cream, having so much prio so that Canyon can grab these grubs. These are really important wins for the side of Gen.G, but top esports unrelenting. And bottom side, obviously, we talked about how well Ash can control this matchup, this 2v2 with the Braum. It's going swimmingly.
Yeah, definitely feeling pretty good down there at the moment. And Tian's gonna just start up the Dragon himself, knowing that Canyon is nowhere in the vicinity. And they have the push on bottom, so should be the Hextech Dragon going the way of top esports. Gen.G get 3 Void Grubs. As now Canyon, no flash. He's going to get over the wall. 369 doesn't have flash himself, but Canyon in a very awkward spot.
Keen does have ult available here. Doesn't necessarily need it.
Let's go gold card, but Canyon is just dead. Yeah, there's just no way to get out of there. Just gets caught by 369, who's 2-0 on Rumble already.
And you knew that Tian was bottom side, so if you're Keen in this case, you've got to come over and make the assist happen faster. It's just the level 1 on his ultimate, but still, he had enough distance there to maybe come help out. As Canyon just burns, he's left to die in top esports. Again, the lead continues. Now, Chovy pushed Cream out a second time, did take his own back here, picked up his Sork shoes. He still has a lot of big prio, but because he backed, he's not here to help Canyon out. And it feels like a gross miscommunication between the Canyon and the solo lanes here, because obviously Chovy isn't here, but he still goes for this play. Keen does not commit to the ultimate, as meanwhile down here, I thought maybe something was going to go down. It's going to be okay, but not committing the ultimate as Keen there. No Chovy. It makes you wonder why Canyon was that far up, looking for the pick there. 369 with a big punish.
It's just one of those things where you say, okay, well, the enemy jungler, oh, this arrow is going to get the flash out of Chovy, who gives the thumbs up. Very nicely aimed from the side of Jackie Love. But yeah, it's one of those things, Canyon's like, oh, 10 can't be here, right? So I should be safe. And then all of a sudden, level 6 Rumble shows up, and he's like, huh, I guess I'm just dead. And, well, he is. And, you know, the TF picked into the Rumble to deal with the lane, to get ahead. We talked about this for the side of Gen.G, to try to win the lanes, to try to get ahead. It's only Chovy that's ahead because 369 and 10 got so many wins in the top side of the map. And they get an extra one, the cherry on top in their own jungle here on a Canyon.
Yeah. Canyon's flash is coming back, Keen as well, relatively soon here after that first debacle that did occur in the top side where 369 and Tian were able to get a huge lead there. But Tian's just hanging around the top side, knowing bottom side is under full control. And it's hard to make a play here, but Rumble has the equalizer back. Mako here as well on the roam. So awkward for Keen. Looks like he will finally be able to walk up here and take his farm, but the pressure is real. You could feel it. And even though Cream has been pushed in a lot, has found himself at a CS deficit, he's really been able to stay relatively even despite Chovy's advantages here. It's only 100 and, you know, some odd gold that Chovy is ahead, and he's not under any kill pressure, so he doesn't care.
Uh-oh, Chovy no flash. He is just dead. Just gonna get Sejuani ulted to the face, and Lens nowhere for him to go either. He's got a flash himself, but the damage comes through, and the phosphorus bomb picks up a double kill for Cream.
I mean, you know, it's been a few years since I've been the guy to call the games over early, but this one is looking pretty rough, Valdez. I mean, this is arguably one of Gen.G's weakest performances we've seen in the last 2 months. As the Valkyrie here pushing forward as they grab the stun onto Chovy. And then just concussive, gonna catch Lehens here. The phosphorus bomb is just enough. Huge cheer from the crowd here as another Tian nod to come through. My man's a nodder today, but I gotta say, this time well deserved. Great ultimate from him. No flashes, no summoners expended out of top esports for the play.
Yeah, it's just the value of this composition shown very early on. I mean,
speaking of,
you get one pick. Chovy's just dead again. I mean, there's nowhere for him to go. He doesn't have flash. Lehen's like, well, sorry, buddy, nothing I can do. I didn't block the arrow, and you're just dead. And that's the value of Ashe and Sejuani and Braum. And Cream right there started off in a rough situation, but now he's totally flying free, 2-0-1, getting super fed. And now on the top lane as well, 369 just burning down Keen. And, you know, I like what Ox was saying on the desk earlier on about top esports just showing an incredible performance in game number 1. I do agree. But here in game number 2, Gen.G are also not having a great one as Lahen's trying to get the flank here on Jackie Love, but he's just going to pick up the kill, and maybe he does go down.
TP as well. Like, Jackie Love maybe saved here.
Yeah, I mean, the kicks should come out as Jackie Love will be in a lot of trouble. Can they trade anything back? Yeah, Lahen's is going to go down. This is still a one-team fight for Top Esports, rather.
Yeah.
And they're just getting more and more value.
Now, at least King can get some plates because he hasn't got a teleport, Valdez. He doesn't have one of those. He's not going to be matching 369 coming over here. But he's not going to lose any farm, 369, because he could just take this one out as well. Picks up his 3rd kill of the game. He's got 6 Dark Seal stacks. And Gen.G just falling apart at the seams, looking for a really proactive play. But unfortunately, Pays going in on the Arcane Shift before Lahen shows up on his big wraparound. Huge error of judgment, completely punished. And yes, they will get the kick onto Jackie Love to secure the kill, but all it takes is a teleport from the already winning Rumble lane topside where no pressure, no gold card to stop him, no answer will come through. So yes, you end up getting the 1 kill back onto Jackie Love, which was your initial objective. But 369 picks up that 3rd kill. 2 kills went over to Cream on that last play mid. And we've got the money exactly where you want it. As Top Esports, this is a disastrous early game. Not one that isn't recoverable from, but the way that Top Esports played, how impressive they were in game 1, Gen.G fans definitely feeling a little bit stressed.
Yeah, and Top Esports, incredible first game. But now they're playing an incredible second game. They have so many tools to do it. Jackie Love, immediate cleanse. Very nice, Captain Jack himself. He's just going to get out of there. The poke is coming down, and Top Esports just weighing their options here. Now they're just going to throw everything into the Leona. They take him down, and that'll be huge. As yes, the Dragon does go the way of Gen.G 10. He's going to flash away. Cream has to do so as well. Finally, Gen.G do get something, but Top Esports, they didn't even have the Rumble. 369 is just getting huge amounts of farm in the top lane while all of this is happening.
Yeah,
and it's only a singular Chemtech Drake.
Yeah, it's only a singular Chemtech Drake, and I think the reason why Gen.G felt so confident to actually go for this play is they know the Rumble doesn't have TP since he TP'd to the bottom side play. But no indecision here for the side of Top Esports. Notice as well how close that Dragon was to actually going over to Top Esports, down at 59 on the smite. If just one stray hit goes over and they actually steal that one away on top of the play there, it's even worse. Now, it is going to be Cloud Soul here for this second game of the series, and ends up being a soul that's relatively strong for both teams here. Obviously, always going to be really important when you have a top laner without teleport. The additional movement speed and the rift can really help you shore up that weakness of not being able to join team fights as quickly as your opposition. And we're looking at a situation here now where this next fight may be the game decider if Gen.G can't figure out how to set up for an angle. And Keen's ultimates, where have they been? We haven't seen any impact of this losing lane Twisted Fate into the Rumble. And it's all been because Tian put the pressure up there. Mako went up and put the pressure up there.
Fortunately, that's the way it goes, right? You know, the TF falls behind, and then he's like, well, I'm just a 80 carry that's behind against a super fed Rumble. What do I do? I just sit back and try to farm and try to catch up, but he's not going to have an impact in this game for a very long time. And
if at all.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how Top Esports, if they don't fall behind in lane, they just have the God comp, and well, it's the God comp. They're just kind of sending it in. It's now Tien, okay. Bit of a mistake. He's going to get in there. He is incredibly tanky. And you know what? He doesn't give a damn at all, as he is going to live through all the damage of the 3 members of Gen.G. And he survives with 14 health, as he does get over the wall as well. I thought maybe he was going to die at the very end, as Cream in a very rough spot does get shut down by Pays. But man, Top Esports are really clapping him now.
I mean, Pays getting the shutdown is pretty huge, but at the end of the day, I feel like we might be watching the beginning of Gen.G starting to realize those keys might be crushed, because, I mean, you look at these plays here. Gen.G grouped up as 3, Tian on a control ward, but he has Aftershock. He can absorb so much damage here, and even with the ultimate coming through from Chovy, the arrow buys so much space. Cream with a follow-up over the wall with the Valkyrie. They have just enough damage. Jackie Love not even needed, but he was there just in case. Yes, they get that trade back kill.
Oh boy.
But look at the damage.
And again, 369 wasn't even there. He was just hanging out in bot lane. He's like, I'm just getting fed, guys. I have enough kills. You guys can maybe get some kills. tells us now. Very nice stun here on a Jacula, but the Braum trying desperately to hold the door as the gold card does come down. Mako in a bit of trouble himself, has to flash away. And finally, Gen.G do get one pick, but again, still very far behind, looking for a bit more, trying to get this mid-outer turret as Top Esports are pushing bot.
Bottom inner here going to go down. Meanwhile, they can't get the mid turret off of the pick. At least they're able to get the pick itself, but small victory here for Gen.G, but this is the type of proactivity that we're going to need to see from Gen.G from behind here. Even if you trade down, you've got to try something in this game. If you just sit back and let this composition of Top Esports scale and wait for objective spawns, it's never going to be a winning strategy. When you have Leona, when you have the gold card, when you have this Lee Sin, you're going to have to try to fish for something. A moment of, you know, overextension here from Jacula. Doesn't get hit by the Zenith play, but will, of course, be hit by the Solar Flare. Mako doing his best here. They even commit the teleport, so that's a big win for Gen.G. But look at how many members of Gen.G it takes to set up this pick. Like you said, it feels like every fight that they trade, Top Esports like, oh, well, somebody else is getting a turret, though. Or, oh, it's free farm in the bottom lane, and Gen.G have to expend more. We look for a group up here on the top side of the map. Baron hasn't spawned yet. I know we're still sitting at a huge amount of gold here for Top Esports, but we're not having that discussion for a few more minutes.
You can tell they're like, huh, maybe we can do the Baron. Wait, it's not here. And, you know, Cloud Soul is actually going to be excellent for their composition, just finding more and more clean engages. Denying movement speed from the side of Gen.G as well is going to be extremely important, as it does look like Mako is going to drive this straight into the turret. And he is Braum, should be totally fine here. And Tian over the wall, looking for an angle. Lehens only level 7, and again, they're gonna get on top of Lehens, but they do dive under the turret, but it does not matter. The damage does not get traded by Gen.G, as that is just going to be a dead Leona once again.
I mean, it's Ashe, Sejuani, Rumble. The 3 top tier picks they got that Gen.G gave, and it's just one after the other. Stun, stun, burn. Down they go, down goes the turret. And Top Esports, I mean, you have this much map control, you can just sit on Raptors. We've seen so many Sejuani's to this. Canyon's done it a million times. But you can see Leona, you know, Lehens' positioning there, perfect for what could occur. You know, he's aware of the fact that Tien could be there. They don't have vision. But blocking him from entering is alone not enough. Just too much setup here. As you can see, this is the vision of Gen.G. And Lehens, yeah, he's in position to prevent the carries from getting caught, but he's gonna get caught. He's gonna get burned down. Canyon's super low. And that's a kill, that's a turret over the side of Top Esports. And as Baron gets closer and closer to the spawn, we're talking about a Rumble nearly on 2 items here. McCorky, that's been on 2 for a while, has the luxury to buy a QSS for extra safety. They may very well just do Baron on spawn.
I mean, they can absolutely threaten it, if nothing else, right? Because their turn is S+ tier. Again, the God Comp, they just sit on it. They have multiple tanks, and they have so many ways to throw in CC, to find picks from ahead without much vision for the side of Gen.G. So Top Esports definitely considering it, as they will hold around this area.
Yeah, I mean, with Dragon taken already, there's nothing to fight for bottom side. 369 has teleport advantage. Keen has to be on the top side of the map here near this Baron. He can continue to push and join as that teleport comes back online here. Really well timed with this Baron spawning in 30 seconds. They're putting deep vision up. They have Ashe Arrow as well for some additional vision. There's no great angle of approach here for the side of Gen.G. Keen flanking could end up being a liability more than a setup here, as it's not impossible for Gen.G to win this, but I think it's going to take a big error from Top Esports, or an angle that right now I just can't see. They've got some vision in their own jungle now. They cleared some of that vision that Top Esports was setting up. And it looks like on spawn, we're not going to see it, but Lehens, he's got to check. You know, he's got to come over here and set up multiple wards, because the threat is real with the teleport disadvantage. I mean, Keen's back bottom side cannot join a Baron take. 369 has push control here. He's winning the side, obviously, and can join at a moment's notice, and now the group up begins.
Now, what I would say is for the side of Gen.G, I feel like their one angle is you still have to find picks and just hope you've got enough damage with Chovy and Pays. If that doesn't work, you don't really have much of an angle. And that also relies on Top Esports making a big mistake, making a big error. As you see, Canyon, somebody's got to check it. Somebody has to get in, as now this time the Leona pretty tanky, but the equalizer up top. Mako is super low, as 369 still looking for a bit more. Pays is going to be isolated on the right side of this fight. fight, but they do back away. Gen.G holding on for dear life in this game.
Yeah, the equalizer in terms of his positioning looked good initially, but because Gen.G could just back out, they did so much damage, they can't follow up. So Gen.G actually handling that about as well as they could have. Lehens absorbing so much of that damage after the initial engage came through. And now they absolutely can contest this Baron here. Top sending 369 back to the bottom lane. He doesn't have that equalizer anymore. He's going to use that teleport advantage to continue to put pressure around the Baron. Mako is able to get back, regen, come back into this fight. Doesn't quite have Warmogs just yet, but is full health now. And the rotational battle continues where it's just vision fights after vision fights. But no answer for that Rumble. It's just pushing wave after wave into the bottom turret. Now off of vision, Gen.G have to be so respectful.
You see they are being very respectful. Keen, he's like, oh crap, I easily could have just died there. But he is able to get away without a scratch. And Top Esports, once again, it's just back to clearing vision, taking control over the Baron pit, and you know what? Maybe it's just killing Lehens along the way. Might just be able to do that under the turret as Lehens is alone. He's just going to be taken out. Nobody on the side of Gen.G can help him.
The spread too thin. Chovy has to go bottom to deal with the waves down there. They're missing so much farm. If he's not there, he's the one who's got TP. That True Shot Barrage is a nice boon here for Gen.G. Some extra damage launched in, but no vision.
Oh boy, yeah, they just don't have vision. Somebody has to face check. Canyon is barely going to live. A lot of damage coming out from Chovy and from Chovy as everybody's low here on the side of Top Esports. Another equalizer is going to hit that back line, and now Cream just flashes forward, looking to get it. And you know what? I think the wallets are just way too large here on the side of Top Esports as Cream. Jeez, man, he almost went down as well. As the snipe is going to come in, Chovy takes out Cream.
Snap of his fingers. I mean, Chovy could not have played that fight better. I don't think Gen.G could have played that fight better if they tried, if they were tool assisted, because that was so clean from them. But like you said, you took the words out of my mouth, Valdez. Wallets are heavy. The advantages that Top Esports hold are just too much. Chovy did so much damage, layered through the choke, massive ultimate, but it's not enough to win the fight. But what they will win is a deny of the Baron take. Top Esports will have to back away, will have to reset and head back over. Kane still teleportless on the bottom side. Canyon is down there. They feel like they've got a little bit of reprieve here. Rapid fire cannon is done for Keen. As you see this engage here, we're going back to this moment. Look at how much damage Chovy layers into this team fight. It's absolutely insane. Pays going forward here, trying to get the kill on the TN. Look at the low health bars here of Top Esports. Gen.G, they used everything that Chovy had, but it wasn't enough. Cream just narrowly thought he escaped, but the snipe comes through from Chovy. Top Esports turn their focus now to Cloud Soul Point on the bottom side of the map, and Gen.G just not in a position to trade for Baron. They don't have vision control of the Baron pit.
Yeah, they're just way too far behind to even consider that. And, you know, I think that we saw a showcasing of what Ezreal and Sway can do if you run in a straight line at them in a small corridor in their jungle, right? I think that Top Esports are doing a good job denying vision, but they're also playing directly into all of this AoE damage. They have enough money, so it's working out as this arrow, ooh, nice dodge from Chovy, but he might still go down as Mako's got this angle here. Let's see if he can land this ult. No, Chovy's still in a lot of trouble, and he will be going down here. Chovy a little bit too greedy up there in the top lane, and immediately he will be punished for it.
That was on a life Chovy moment there. Just so much greed. You've got to farm. You've got to get out there on the map. But unfortunately, can't dodge everything. As Pay's looking for a pick.
Yeah, he's trying to do something, but the arcane shift forward as now Lehens trying to peel for him. The cleanse comes through. The True Shot Barrage, though, is going to hit the door as immediately we are going to lose one of our members here. Looks like Lehens will go down. Keen is split pushing in mid somehow as all of this is happening. Now he's going to be chased away by the Rumble. And
looking for a steal.
Yeah, he does have access to this pit, funnily enough, as Top Esports. Not a lot of health here, but still just tanking this one down. Canyon is going to be pushed away as he is desperate to try to get into the pit, but immediately he does get taken down. That is a Baron on 5 members of Top Esports.
Keen trying to get some of that bounty gold off of this inner. He's so close to it too. Ranged minions left. I think he will get it. Meanwhile, Pay's in trouble over here. Will actually be able to put the pressure on, try to stop some recalls, but he's in danger.
He is desperate to do anything in this game, and you see Gen.G playing kind of guerrilla warfare here. They're trying desperately to find whatever picks they can, but it is just not working.
I mean, this game,
Top Esports get more.
This game feels so doomed, but I gotta say, Gen.G doing the best they can with one hand tied behind their back.
Now, well, Chovy's dead again. Not much he can do about this as the ult is going to hit them in the face, and Mako doesn't really care. And that is another kill here for 369, who is 5-0-0. Very clean scoreline for him.
Man, almost looks like Canyon, the color is out of his face on this one. Such a close attempt there on the steal. Flashless, mind you, on this Lee Sin, a Braum in his face. But he's not able to make it happen. I mean, the kill score is 4-20 at 26 minutes. I mean, they are practically getting Harlem globetrotted here by Top Esports, but in the last few moments, they've given it their best effort, got some bounty gold, denied the Baron twice, but ultimately it's still Top Esports. Canyon insect.
Canyon, he's gonna find Jackie Love. That is a massive pickoff here as the push was coming in, and they're kind of lulled into a false sense of security. Canyon's just gonna take down Jackie Love just like that, but he will be taken down himself, I think, although he will flash away, and they only get the inhibitor turret.
And not a true insect, the ward hop to go for it. Still has his flash, gets out of dodge there, is able to absorb. As a result, the equalizer there for 369, one of the best tools at, really ending the game in these types of moments. They're unable to get the inhibitor thanks to Canyon's heroic play. I mean, this could be one of the biggest comebacks in the history of international events for Gen.G if they can bring this one back. It doesn't seem likely, to be frank with all of you at home watching and those of you in the arena. But man, they have made this game where they're so far behind look so close with some of these clutch plays. And I think, as you mentioned, Top Esports, a little bit of false sense of security here in these moments. And Gen.G, they are not going to go quietly into that good night. They are not ready to see their key crushed just yet here at EWC. The massive tournament favorites for this tournament. A close one in game one. Game two, extremely one-sided until these last few moments as Chovy is stunned.
369 just ran by the guy that was backing, and now it looks like Chovy should be able to TP out of this one, so kind of unfortunate for 369, a little bit baited by the recall, but yeah, it almost feels like Top Esports are just like, yeah, we won this game, and you know what? They almost definitely will, but, perhaps just Jackie Love things getting caught out there a bit by Canyon.
You can see what Gen.G's composition can do. We talked about it. You really pointed it out very well in that last fight where Chovy did massive amounts of damage. Fighting in choke points, big no-no for Top Esports even this far ahead. The chain CC that can come through here, where you have the gold card, you have the kick from Canyon, you have the Leona. The pick potential is definitely there. They have a huge amount of damage. Even the burst. With Ezreal, you don't normally think of him as a burst champion, but on this patch, on 3 items, he kind of is. If you catch anybody, he will just blow them up. Same with the Hui. A lot of burst damage, a lot of AoE. Gen.G holding on by a thread here as the soul is up for grabs for Top Esports.
Yeah, I think all that Top has to do is just fight a regular 5v5, and they will win the game. They just got to set up very nicely here, just get some vision down into this banana brush and wait for the nice angle to engage. As now the arrow comes out, this is everything into Lahen's, but their wallets are just so huge, and Gen.G, they just leave him to die, as Lahen's still alive though, is going to survive in this one, as now the Sejuani ult comes out. That's not going to have any follow-up either, as now pays over the wall, the arcane shift, as he is doing a ton into TM, but eventually he should be punished. He is so low on health as Pays is desperate to do whatever he can in this team fight.
Yeah, trying to get his True Shot Barrage back, queuing this Dragon, doing anything he can. I mean, the health bars for Top Esports pretty low. Chovy running out of mana very quickly here, but this is looking good for Gen.G.
It is kind of insane. This should be going the way of Top Esports, and in fact, they will get the Cloud Soul, and Lahen's is once again tanking everything.
So low.
They are very low as Pays once again trying to just E forward, trying to find whatever he can as the push is coming down in the bottom lane.
True Shot.
Top Esports will get the objective.
True Shot's back. Can he catch anybody? Oh, the angle. Ooh. Not good enough. Nearly takes Cream's head off, but it's not enough. This is insane, though, to see Top Esports struggling this hard at the big damage of Chovy. Opted into the Leandri's third. And when you consider how slow the team fighting has been here, low range Ashe, low range Corki here, and Rumble kind of binary in that if his equalizer doesn't get that pick, you don't win that fight necessarily right away. And how many times do we see Canyon put big shields off in that fight, being a secondary support here, keeping his team alive so Lahen's can heal back up as Top Esports using this Cloud Rift to look for a pick.
So fast. They're just sprinting at Lahen's, and maybe finally they will kill this darn Leona as they finally catch Lahen's by himself in his own jungle.
The 8th time he dies in this game. It felt like the last time.
The reverse Legendary Wolf, it returns. And,
Yeah.
you know, Top Esports, I couldn't believe that they haven't already won this game. But maybe now they will put an end to this one. They don't even have the Baron buff. 20 minutes, or rather 20 seconds, until the Baron will spawn. The Top Esports are looking for 2 inhibitors before they go for that objective.
Yeah, I think they should be able to get it here. Jackie Love firing away. Chovy has to deal with these cannon minions. They have to defend their Nexus turrets. Gen.G do not have Cloud Soul. Will have to rush as fast as they can over while clearing this mid wave to the Baron to try to contest. Canyon this time has Flash to look for a potential steal, but I think more than a steal, they need a team fight win here. Top Esports, vision control, as you can see, totally blind right now. Are Gen.G a trinket to spot the Baron? Here we go.
And the ult is going to be thrown into that backline. The equalizer is huge value, but Lahen's once again taking everything up. He will eventually fall. Cream is unstoppable. The True Shot Barrage hits nobody.
Chovy is doing insane damage every single time. He gets a rotation of spells off. Now they're starting up this Baron.
Well, the arrow is going to sail wide, and once again, Top Esports, their turn is legendary as they are looking for any opportunity. Anybody on the side of Gen.G.
Remember, too, Gen.G have those super minions barreling down. They're on a timer here.
And they're just going to run at them. The flash comes forward, and I think Top Esports finally get the fight as Pays will go down. Chovy doesn't have any hope, any mana to do much as they only get Pays, but now they are looking to push right down the middle lane.
And they certainly should be able to end
Or
off
the
of
Baron.
this. Or certainly end off of the Baron that they will now take and then walk down the mid lane as Jackie Love will also secure this scuttle. Gen.G, Chovy, their main damage dealer in this one, unable to be anywhere near that pit. He's got great wave clear, and they will be able to manage the top lane. But you can see 369 is already prepping the mid wave. He hits level 18. He has a Magi's Soul Stealer built, Banshee's Veil. The man is safe against anything, and he's got a TP to come straight down mid if he'd like to. And protect a minion with it if he likes. Elder, 2.5 minutes away, so even if by some miracle Gen.G can wave clear this and defend, there is just no chance they're going to be able to get to the Elder first, as Pays trying his best to do damage here, but a bit too far forward. Great choice by Top Esports. They have the movement speed advantage here, and Gen.G can't back out of the Baron. They lose the Baron, they lose the game, and with the super minions, they kind of had to kite away. Now Top Esports setting up these waves. Let's see how miraculous this defense for Gen.G could be, because it's been a miracle they're still in this game in the first place.
It definitely is. You know what it feels like is that they've realized that they've messed up. They have found out. And they're like, wow, Top Esports a great team. They're trying so hard to come back in this game, but it's a little bit too much. The wallets are just massively heavy as Top Esports are pushing right through the front door, right down in the bottom lane. And that is going to be the third inhibitor going down. As once again here with 2 minutes of Baron buff, they will be looking to end this game.
Clearing the wave as quickly as they can. 369, 2 super minions coming over. Buying a ton of time as Chovy's wave clear. That Leandri's damage ticking through, but there's just too much Top Esports here.
Yeah, there's just way too many members. The Baron buff pushing through the bottom lane. They have a full wave coming through as Gen.G desperate to try to clear the wave. And they're waiting on that one last Nexus turret to try to take this game down, but it is not looking very good.
Hands is back up.
Top Esports,
One Hail Mary.
they're not leaving. So I think eventually they will take down this Nexus turret, but a lot of respect being shown
Equalizer's
from
back.
Top Esports. That's the arrow. They find Canyon, and eventually this front door will come down. Top Esports, they will throw the narrative out the window, and they say, we are the better team tonight, and we will take the 2-0 over Gen.G.
A brick in the golden road of Gen.G. Top Esports with a dominant 2-0 win. Draft error by Gen.G in that second game, giving Top Esports all the S-tier champions that this patch and the previous patch had to offer. They gave them a damn good showing in the defense, 10,000 gold behind. They would not relent, they would not give up. Nothing is given, everything is earned, Valdez. That's the theme of this tournament. Top Esports certainly did earn the end of that game.
Oh yeah.
Cautious, safe, slow. Gen.G with some really nice plays to try to bring themselves back into it, but it felt like it was 1 step forward, 3 steps back each and every way. The Rumble, Sejuani, Ashe, these 3 picks they gave over. with a picks that right the tombstone of the key of Gen.G find itself crushed later on this evening. It's hard to call this one an upset because going into this tournament, we weren't sure entirely how these two teams would match up on form, but the LPL has shown up in such a big way. Even though we saw BLG lose to T1 yesterday, it was a super close series, very resilient. Top Esports, though, the dominant winners of the first one of the day today.
They get this massive 2-0 upset over Gen.G. We're going to throw it down to the stage with Genie for the interview. Take it away.
Genie here, joined with Cram.